Town is truly a melting pot of different cultures and offerings. Whilst the city is ever evolving, there are still plenty of historically rich pockets that pay homage to the iconic architecture of yesteryear. Today's finest home is a celebration of history, but with an eye on the future.
South African homes have truly come into their own over the last few decades. Generic imitations have made way for modern masterpieces and character-filled spaces. Finest Homes explores these creations, talking to the visionaries who are bringing them to life. Join us as we explore some of these spaces, showcasing the architecture, interior design, and the landscape design.
I'm your host, Balisa Dembe, and this is Finest Homes. On today's episode of Finest Homes, I'm visiting a Victorian beauty at the base of Signal Hill, where Dawid Augustyn of Establishment injected new life into a historical Cape Town cottage. From the street, the classical black and white color palette gives little indication of the colorful opulence that awaits behind the black front door. Hi, Dawid.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good to meet you.
What is the architectural history behind this particular home?
This is an old Victorian home dating from the 1905s. The client really loves old buildings, and that's why we are standing here today.
Now, what drew you to this particular property?
I think the area, Tamboerskloof, is a wonderful neighborhood that the client has always been sought after. He found this row house and fell in love with it immediately.
Well, I understand where he comes from. I would too, but let's step inside.
Yeah, come on.
Wow, this quite literally looks like I just walked onto a set. What a beautiful expression of your creativity. And what was the brief for this project?
So the client wanted to bring the old Victorian cottage into a bit of a modern era, but still have sort of nostalgic feelings towards the Victorian era. And he definitely wanted a contrast between old and new, and you'll feel that when we move through to the rest of the property.
So what kind of changes did you make to this area and also the other extended living spaces?
Yes, so as a typical Victorian cottage, it had 4 rooms, and in the area where we are standing now used to be a bedroom. Oh, wow. Part of the client's brief was to open up the spaces, and what we've done here is we've demolished the walls that formed the bedroom. We opened it up to the rest of the building, and we created pockets within the building to close up or to be individual spaces. The space then flows over into what used to be a second bedroom, which we now actually created a television room or a den for the client to close the doors and to retreat. We feel after COVID, much of that is needed, and the client definitely wanted that.
I'm obsessed with that. I love the notion of just letting go the norm of having these extra guest bedrooms. I mean, it's such a lovely way to optimize on your living space.
It's definitely part of the client's lifestyle. They opted not to have an extra guest room because they wanted to use the space for other purposes, and because they only have people very seldom.
Well, listen, Mom cannot come unannounced.
That's what Airbnb is for.
It seems as if you've definitely used minimalistic ideas, but also allowed yourself to play within the space.
Yes, no, I think that was part of what the client wanted. He wanted to feel sophistication. He wanted to feel that it's playful, that it's inviting. So all the spaces have their own individual character.
Well, let's continue exploring.
Yes, let's go.
The piano room. This definitely has to be one of my favorite rooms in the home. So eclectic.
We wanted a room that feels like a library and a breakaway, a space that you can shut down and reminisce through a book, write or work if you wanted to. And naturally, we've allowed natural light through there as well, because that used to be an old alleyway, and this is the only room that didn't get natural light. So we decided to open a door out there and create a lovely outdoor shower. The client wanted to create a home, should anybody ever buys the house from him or if somebody else comes and lives here, that it still functions as a 2-bedroom house downstairs. And we've used cupboard space, or that used to be cupboard space, to create a beautiful shower room that can be shared by the 2 downstairs bedrooms, as well as a separate toilet that can be used for guests coming into the house or for the bedrooms separately.
The eccentric nature just of the design of the space alone just says a lot about the work that you do.
I think so. I by nature, I'm a little bit of a collector, and I think in this room, I've been allowed to indulge in sort of like a mystery of what's happening.
You know, a lot of people might feel like this is quite a small space, but you have done such an exceptional job of opening it up, making it feel so spacious and allowing a lot of natural light in. How did you achieve this?
Yes, I think these cottages are actually very small, and I think what we've achieved is to bring in beautiful natural light. We've increased the window sizes, and the rooms are all opening into the main area. And by doing that, one gets an essence of space and feeling of being able to connect from one space to the next.
How did you keep the heritage in mind when it came to the renovation of the home?
That was a very important part of this whole process. The planning of the house alone took about 18 months. And the reason for that is that these buildings are being protected by our Heritage Council. And the design took in mind various aspects from the front facade all the way through to internally in the building to demarcate what the original building was. So in this room, part of what we have done is to keep the original fireplace. We've made it quite a big feature because we wanted to celebrate and honor the heritage of the building. We also modernized it. We wanted to have a metamorphosis out of the old into the new. And you can see how the shape of the fire hearth has been created with these slatted walls. That again takes on a little modern element which contrasts the heritage, which I think brings out the heritage even more.
Dawid, I think it's safe to say I've got full-blown kitchen envy. The space is amazing.
It's the heart of the home. I think we have created a beautiful space for the client, again, with a very open flow from the moment that you enter into the cottage, right down to the end of the cottage. You can see all the way through, and it's almost like it is inviting you to come here. The way that it was constructed in the old days, there never used to be a kitchen in the back here. Kitchens used to be on the outside of the building, and through the mid-20s, 30s, a kitchen was added on, but it was always a very small room. And we wanted to take the opportunity to bring in light into the whole building, and therefore we have opened up the windows very big, very large. We've raised the ceilings very, very tall, and therefore a lot of flow of light inside. We've also introduced a skylight on this side, which brings in more natural light. So it really feels like you are enveloped in light when you walk into the cottage.
I love how you've layered the space.
Yes, I think the kitchen has been designed that way. We have a space where you can in-kitchen dining, separate from the normal dining room. And that's because it's a space for interaction. The island is a place where food gets prepared, and we wanted to centralize that, and people congregate around here while cooking is happening. And we've tucked away little corners where there's more functional spaces. And part of the design has always been to have a space where people can live and move around and entertain and still be in their own spaces, but all linking up from the dining room all the way through to the swimming pool outside. And part of that is also we wanted to bring nature in, and the reason why we have extended Little Splash Pool into a reflection pond is to be able to have the water and nature so close to the room.
You've managed to create the most inviting courtyard.
Yes, again, that was extension of the kitchen that we wanted to feel that it's still part of the inside. So you have this indoor-outdoor living. It is a tiny courtyard, and that's why we wanted the floor finishes to be the same, the glazing on that side to be able to shut down, but still have a connection between the two spaces. It's a space for a new mood, and it's the perfect place to make a fire at night and just enjoy the outdoors. And then it was an opportunity for us also to connect the lower floor from an external point of view to the brand new upstairs area, which I'm sure you are delighted to come and see.
Absolutely. I mean, I do believe there wasn't an upstairs.
Yes, that's all new. The roof space has been reused and a whole new master ensuite and a garden has been created upstairs.
Stay with us as after the break, I continue this home tour by exploring the loft and rooftop garden. In today's episode of Finest Homes, I'm visiting a quaint historical cottage where Dawid Augustyn of Establishment has updated a Victorian classic to Finest Home status. While the classic black and white exterior evokes a sense of nostalgia, it's the interior that shows off Dawid's vision and particular attention to detail. The staircase that leads one up to the master and only bedroom is evidence that design and function can always find a way to connect. There's a tactility to the handrail, and the open steps allow for the natural light to filter through. Wow. I think it's safe to say I am truly speechless. This is the dressing room of my dreams. From the walk-in closet, which I have to admit is probably my favorite part of the home, to your open-plan bathroom, the layout of your loft has been meticulously thought out.
Yeah, I mean, it was part of the brief. We wanted the loft to feel very open, architecturally, to connect to all the spaces. The client didn't want to have separate rooms up here, and that's why we've decided to incorporate the shower, room, bathroom into the bedroom spaces, but to yet have a separate space where you can dress, but it's still open to where we are at the moment.
Now, coming upstairs, you definitely do experience beautiful tactile surfaces.
Yes, I think we wanted to bring an old worldliness to the bathroom area where we did the wall paneling. And we brought in fabrics on cupboard surfaces to make it feel softer and gentler as you come in here. It creates a sense of retreat, a sense of softness because it's a bedroom. The colors are still masculine. The marble that we've used here is a very dark, contrasting, hard color, which also oozes masculinity. And the rest of the space is very gentle and easy. We haven't overfilled it with a lot of furniture. We've kept it very simple and elegant.
And the attention to detail when it comes to the lighting within the space is also truly remarkable.
Yes, I mean, part of our practice is always to use intelligent lighting where we can. It assists us to switch lights on and off when it's not in use. We use, obviously, LEDs throughout. And the client wanted something that can help him manage the house from a remote area. And that's why we've incorporated the intelligent lighting everywhere.
You've opened up the bathroom space quite effortlessly into the bedroom, which definitely gives that resort-like feeling.
We wanted the space to be open and not be closed off in between different spaces, and therefore we've had something that feels sculptural in the bedroom. We are using it as a place where we put plants to make it softer and just feel that it's part of the room.
Now, I can only imagine that starting and ending your day off on this incredible rooftop garden never gets old.
Yeah, I think the client absolutely loves this. And again, you know, it takes on the whole theme that we've taken from downstairs to upstairs, having an inside-outside type of lifestyle. Spending time here in the mornings, having a quick coffee before work, and ending your day in the afternoon watching the sunset is the perfect way. We've got city lights over here in the evenings and beautiful, beautiful sunrises in the morning.
From your choice of plants to the actual structure itself, I'm sensing quite a bit of a New York High Line influence.
That was part of the brief. The client spent a lot of time in New York, and it was an inspiration and was part of the words that was used when we did the design.
Stunning. For a space that never existed, I can only imagine the structural challenges of putting this up.
Yeah, I mean, it was a challenge. The space here was a corrugated roof before. We've decided to do a concrete slab. The reason for that was that the client always wanted a garden up here. So we needed to redo the structure in order to create the space up here. And with the bedroom, we also lifted the roof up that was sloping before, and that was also a challenge, and we needed to lift the roof up by about 400 millimeters in order to create the space and to eat into the depth of the room to be able to afford the dressing room and the study on that side.
After the break, we round off the home tour and dive deeper into the decor choices Dawid implemented into this home. In today's episode of Finest Homes, I'm visiting a classic Cape Town cottage that has enjoyed a major transformation by Dawid Augustyn of Establishment. A house that invites you in and lathers you with opulent design choices. Now we finish off this home tour and dive deeper into the decor choices Dawid implemented into this home. Moving throughout the home, I've definitely experienced such interesting touch points. How would you describe the design scheme of the home?
I think the overall design is something that is very personal here. For me, it's always very important that when you put a space together, that it is really a reflection and a little puzzle piece of the client that you are working for. I like the idea that it is a collection of various elements and items that is being curated together to somehow find its way to be beautiful, to be a place where somebody wants to be. And that's what we've done for the client. They love modern and old, classic and mid-century. We've decided to take many of those pieces and put them together, and somehow it made the client at the end feel happy in the space.
You also haven't shied away from color.
It's funny you say that, because the house really is an inversion of itself. The front, or the older part of the house, it has made use of blacks and whites, and we have a dark floor and white rising out of the dark floor. And the new modern part, we've inverted that. We've got a very dark ceiling, dark walls, and the floor, though it is a black and white floor, presents itself more as a white base. And we like the inversion of those two elements to play off against each other, to accentuate the two spaces connected but disconnected from each other.
And that confident use of color is seen through the pops of color throughout the space, the blue on the walls, the burnt orange of the piano room, and the green fireplace.
Yes, I mean, I've always not shied away from color. I really enjoy color. It brings out such emotion in people. Artwork, we've put together a collection of what the client had, and we wanted to keep it monochromatic. And if you look around the house, you would see that a lot of the areas we've defined with a very monochromatic style. So the piano room, we've used color throughout. All the walls, all the ceilings are the same, so that there's a seamless feeling of almost creating a little box. And these colors bring out a certain emotion in the various spaces.
I've noticed the subtle use of curves throughout the space. Number one, what effect does this give the home, and how far can one push this aesthetic?
Yes, I think curves brings a subtleness to a space. It also represents, in my life, femininity, and I really like the idea of bringing feminine energy into various spaces. I also like the idea that these features that you use in a space is very subtle. It doesn't need to be forced. It needs to be natural. The way that we've designed the staircase, the curve going up onto the staircase, there's a nostalgic feeling about it. If you think about a Victorian home staircase, generally speaking, they would have a curve at the bottom. And we've repeated that to have a nostalgic feeling continuing in the design as well.
Another surprising touch point has to be the use of black within the kitchen. Now, this is something that one doesn't experience quite a lot.
The idea came from burnt wood. When we walked in Table Mountain Nature Reserve once, the client saw burnt trees, and it inspired him to do something in burnt wood. And the kitchen was chosen to be black, also because it rises out of the white floors. And as we said earlier, we have this play between black and white in the space. And that's why we decided to use black. We've settled it down with the use of a little bit of brass on the handles. And as you can see, the brass on the island made it sort of like just a little bit more luxe.
As we are experiencing and enjoying the luxe elements and elevated homes, in your opinion, what makes a fine home?
I think to be in a fine home is to feel your absolute best. It is your sanctuary where you want to be. And I think this home for the client has exactly that. And for me, to see somebody happy in their space means to me that it is a fine home.
That's it for this week's episode of Finest Homes. Do join us again next week as we bring you more inspirational design.